Welcome to the Next in Health podcast. I'm Igor Belokrinitsky, a principal with PwC Strategy, and where I get to help leading health organizations build strategies and operating models. And what's next in health is that we are all getting older and somebody's going to have to take care of us. And fortunately, there's an organization out there that is coming up with new ways of taking care of seniors that is human-centric and affordable and equitable. And we're delighted today to have with us the CEO of myPlace Health, Robbie Pottharst, who is also an alum of the firm and a real health leader. So Robbie, welcome to the podcast.
Igor, thank you so much for including me today.
Excellent. Well, maybe first things first, Robbie, tell us your story.
You got it. I've been fortunate to have an opportunity to stitch together a variety of experiences that inform my perspective today and how we're building myPlace Health. I think of my career in three phases. The first phase was 10 years in management consulting, racking up lots of miles and points, traveling the US, where I touched just about every corner of payer and provider world with a focus on serving government programs clients. So health plans in Medicare Advantage and Medicaid managed care, as well as some of the providers building programs to meet the needs of vulnerable populations. And as you mentioned, it included a few formative years at Booz & Company, the precursor to Strategy and, which was some pivotal learning experience points that I still rely on today. Second phase of my career was in industry, where I moved from consultant to now an operating leader with P&L responsibility for Medicare Advantage, dual special needs plans, and other unique value-based care models. And it was within these integrated payer provider leadership experiences where I feel like I found my true calling, and it opened my eyes to the incredible innovation opportunities within the broader value-based care movement we see in our industry today. And those experiences led me to the third phase of my career now, where for the past 5 years, I've been building new organizations, startups that introduce new integrated care models, which offer step changes in outcomes, quality, experience, cost, and health equity for populations in our society who really need them the most. Again, with a focus on Medicare, Medicaid, and clinically complex populations. My time now at myPlace Health is a product of these experiences. I started working on the myPlace Health idea almost 3 years ago this fall under startup incubation support from the SCAN Group based in the Southwest. They brought a unique thesis on the PACE model, and we were soon joined by Commonwealth Care Alliance with roots in Massachusetts and operating now in several states. These two mission-driven organizations already have renowned government programs and complex care capabilities. They came together to help author and sponsor our new approach to serving some of the most vulnerable citizens in our communities, namely older adults who have limited means and who over time have accrued various disablements due to the aging process and as a result of uncontrolled chronic conditions. Almost everyone listening, I imagine, has a grandparent, friend, or loved one who has had an experience of declining health later in life. And far, far too often, the only option offered is to fall into an institution like a nursing home, away from family and loved ones at what should be and could be a really happy time, and at tremendous financial burden to these families and taxpayers to boot. So this shouldn't be the case. And what we're building at myPlace Health is a solution through what's known as the PACE model. The PACE model is an acronym for the Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly, which is essentially a staff model HMO, so part health plan, part provider, that provides value-based, proactive, and integrated care for this population so that they can remain living in their homes with their families and in their communities for as long as possible.
Very helpful. So let's get into myPlace Health. I would love to hear more about the organization. Where did it come from? Where is it going? And what does it do that's so special about it and that gets you to be so passionate, so excited about it?
Yeah, thanks. There are a couple larger macro trends and then the unique ways in which we're building it that I think are part of the fun story here. Our society's aging. In the next 15 years, 1 in 5 Americans will be over age 65, and we need better aging in place care models. I mentioned the fact that hundreds of thousands of Americans needly find themselves moving into expensive nursing home care, despite surveys and what we intuitively see across the board that folks routinely want to remain living in their homes. There's general industry interest in the potential of value-based care models. And then in the pandemic, this specific care model really shined, keeping folks healthier across the board. So our model builds upon PACE. I mentioned the Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. All the trends I mentioned are really a tailwind for this model. It's a comprehensive care program that integrates health and social needs of older adults with some exciting key features. We have our interdisciplinary care team, which is a highly cohesive team of medical experts that coordinate care for all of our participants. So that includes doctors, nurses, therapists, personal care aides, social workers, transportation drivers, and more. We have a health plan, so we manage and pay for services delivered through our contracted network with the community. And our benefits cover the whole continuum of services that our folks may need. So medical care, primary care, emergency care, specialist care, you name it. There's a wide body of research behind us here, building upon the PACE programs that have shown significant reductions in hospitalizations, ED department use, rates of depression, with super high satisfaction. So now, as we're building this model based upon an established PACE care model, we have a couple of ways we get to build a new and different approach to this. First comes from our sponsors. We're harnessing the scale and capabilities and depth of our strategic partners. SCAN and CCA have both independently proven themselves as some of the best in the business with respect to organizing and delivering care for older adults with complex needs. And so they're guiding how we build a meaningfully different approach to our system of care and the way we integrate health plan and health services capabilities. Second, the industry has advanced quite a bit with respect to what we think is an industry best practice in this space. We're integrating behavioral health, clinical pharmacy, palliative care, and other disciplines throughout our teams. We're leveraging industry advancements in technologies that allow us to provide proactive care for older adults in the home. And we're also deliberately building programs that address social frailty and isolation that many adults face and experience later in life. So there's a lot of exciting momentum behind us, sponsors that are helping us to do this in a new way, and it's a chance to breathe new life in a model that's been around and proven, and now we get to help push it forward.
Robbie, it's very impressive and exciting, and particularly strikes me that what you're doing is you're focusing on the population and individuals that many other organizations overlook, and you're also looking across their entire continuum of needs, including things like behavioral health that are also overlooked and forgotten. So a really great potential for impacting health equity. And so maybe to shift gears a little bit, I think one thing we have in common in the way we're both trained, I think, was this great focus on the role of capabilities, the strength that an organization has that it can use to set itself apart, to create better value for the people that it serves, and to sustain itself and to grow going forward. And so curious, if you look at myPlace Health through this lens of capabilities, what are the kinds of capabilities that you're building and going to be building going forward in order to serve this ambitious mission that you have?
Great question. And that's what is the big thing that keeps me up at night as we're an early organization that's launching at the end of the year. We have focuses across the board in people, workflow and process, and technology. We need to build a fairly complex model that's going to operate in a similar fashion from coast to coast. So that means learning from some other startup experience I've seen where some startups have had a lot of painful rip and replace exercises as they build their model. We're building with 4 to 5 years out line of sight with end state run rate type capabilities across the way we train our teams, import and export culture across markets, and build our health plan capabilities, our analytics capabilities, you name it, with the end in mind. All of those pieces have a clear line of sight back to the member. Our aim for the experience we want to promote, the health outcomes we're aiming to achieve, and the way we want to impact people's lives. Every single goal or thing we've set out to do has a clear capability assigned to it. And it's leveraging kind of the pragmatic approach to tying capabilities to a strategy that we've practiced every day in our former consulting teams.
Robbie, that's excellent. And if I had to, based on this conversation, right, the Robbie Pottharst Guide to Aspiring Health Entrepreneurs, clearly number one is pick a big, important issue that you're really passionate about and you don't mind staying up at night worrying about it. 2 is figure out what your capability is going to be that will help you address this. Give us one more as a conclusion. What else would you want the folks getting into healthcare startups? What else would you want them to think about and focus on?
Find your mission. I'm going bald and gray every day building this thing, and I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. Find your mission, what jazzes you up, what makes you want to go the extra mile. It's super important. Find the team that you want to be in the trenches with, working every day. This is way different from the 9-to-5 gig, and you want to make sure that these are folks you really, really enjoy being with. And then lastly, to the extent you can, find a startup with the right momentum and it's set up for success to begin with. What we're doing is not a build it and hope they will come approach, so to speak. Our sponsors are providing us with tremendous capability and momentum that can help us on day one in really meaningful ways.
Robbie, these are fantastic insights and really excited about what you're building at myPlace Health, and best of luck to you, and thanks for joining us today.
Always good to see and chat with you again, Igor. Thank you.
For more on these topics and other health industry insights driven by policy, innovation, and care delivery changes, please be sure to subscribe to our podcast. That way you also get access to previous episodes where we've covered other exciting health startups tackling such important issues as behavioral health, maternal health, and obesity. Until next time, this has been Next in Health.
This podcast is brought to you by PwC, all rights reserved. PwC refers to the U.S. member firm or one of its subsidiaries or affiliates, and may sometimes refer to the PwC network. Each member firm is a separate legal entity. Please see www.pwc.com/structure for further details. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for consultation with professional advisors.